Only 53% of recruits stay, and the Ministry of Defense calls it progress. In a world where a revolving door is the most stable piece of military infrastructure, at least the uniforms remain consistently stylish.
UK Home Office handcuffs 70-year-old man, insists it's standard procedure. When your immigration policy takes cues from 50 Shades of Grey, maybe it's time to rethink your approach to human rights.
When your business model is a money pit with a view, it's a wonder investors don't just throw their cash into a wishing well instead.
Global campaign demands Marwa Barghouti's release paints London with murals. When art becomes louder than diplomacy, maybe it's time to listen to the paintbrush instead of the politicians.
Tokyo researchers reveal copper catalyst boosts ammonia production, claim it's a green breakthrough. When your green revolution still needs a metal to switch gears, maybe Mother Nature's just rolling her eyes at our eco-enthusiasm.
Suspect in DC shooting served with U.S. troops in Afghanistan now faces American justice. From comrade in arms to courtroom defendant, it's a hell of a way to say thank you for your service. Maybe Uncle Sam should reconsider his recruitment strategies.
Trump's approval rating sinks to 36%, and the White House calls it a temporary setback. Like watching a reality show where the ratings tank but the plot twist is the nation's future, maybe it's time to change the channel, America.
My heart baby formula faces recall over botulism risk, yet they label it a precautionary measure. When your baby's first meal comes with a side of potential paralysis, maybe it's time to rethink precautionary. The real question, who's really being fed here?
When your risk management system has all the stability of a Jenga tower in an earthquake, maybe it's time to redefine management. Who's betting on that irony?
President Trump celebrates simulated democracy, claims it's more efficient than the real thing. When the leader of the free world prefers democracy with a side of simulation, you know reality's been outsourced. What's next? Voting by Magic 8. Ball.
When your sovereignties
Nate drops Waiting for Love, calls it Renee B, but it's more elevator than electric. When your love song's more snooze than sizzle, it's time to question if the passion's just waiting at the wrong station.
Petrobras slashes investment plan to $109 billion, calls it cash flow protection.
U.S. immigration deports college freshmen flying home for Thanksgiving, ignoring a court order. When justice takes a holiday, students get a crash course in the harsh realities of a broken system. Welcome to the land of the free-ish.
UK and Indonesia sign £4 billion maritime deal, label it a landmark for Jakarta's development. Because nothing says progress like turning oceans into chessboards for geopolitical gains. Let's hope Jakarta's new boats can navigate the turbulent waters of international diplomacy.
Tesla praises Chinese partnerships, then reportedly seeks to distance from Chinese suppliers.
ASG Hospital plans 35 billion rupee IPO, claims it's all about vision.
Gulp insiders speculate on Trump's successor, proving the party's love for sequels over fresh plots. When your political strategy looks like a reboot of a franchise, you might be running low on original ideas.
Australian companies celebrate narrowing gender pay gap, but women still earn $28,000 less than men. When progress means you're still short 28 grand, it sounds more like a clearance sale than a victory.
When big pharma's profits soar while patients can't afford their meds, it's like selling umbrellas in a drought, profitable yet utterly pointless.
Italians moving to Spain now outnumber Spaniards moving to Italy 8-1, but both countries still argue about the best pasta recipe. It's like swapping your Vespa for a siesta. Everyone's chasing sunshine, but the real winner is whoever convinces the other to adopt their pizza style.
Parker releases In All Chaos at Midnight, hoping synth music can drown out the existential dread of 2025. When the world is a dumpster fire, sometimes all you need is a good beat and a synthesizer to dance around the flames. When your holiday plans turn into a game of how not to become a crispy critter, maybe it's time to rethink the whole California dream.
Finland's Defence Committee plans to add 5,000 reservists, calls it a peaceful measure. Apparently, nothing says we're all about tranquility, quite like bulking up on a small army of part-time warriors ready to defend the happiest country on earth.
Taiwan seizes over $60 million in assets from ex-TSMC executive, calls it a precaution. When loyalty to silicon turns into a high-stakes game of Monopoly, the chips are down and the lawyers are all in.
When your legal strategy reads like a rejected reality show script, even the courts can't help but roll their eyes and reach for the gavel.
Only 10% of retirees follow best place to retire list, and travel companies call it a breakthrough. When every sunny beach and quiet village becomes the next retirement utopia, it's almost like they're selling dreams rather than destinations.
Only 3% of Americans see Trump as authoritarian, and media calls it democracy.
Quebec to ban public prayer in sweeping new secularism law calls it liberation from divine interference. Well, if God had a seat in Parliament, maybe they'd have consulted him first. Looks like divine intervention just got a red card in Quebec.
"17,000 civilians prepare for Russian invasion on NATO's eastern border, and it's not a reality show."
GM tech executive shake up Target's software team, but the cars still can't parallel park themselves. In the world of GM, swapping execs is like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic, hoping to avoid that iceberg of innovation. Maybe they should just download some common sense.
Europe frets over great power competition, yet still can't agree on a lunch menu. The continent's political squabbles make it about as ready for global dominance as a cat is for a bath. Europe's strategy session could double as a sitcom pilot.
Only 12% of Canadians plan US visits this holiday, so Americans will just have to hug their own maple syrup. With fewer Canadians around, expect Thanksgiving to feature fewer polite apologies and more passive-aggressive stuffing wars. The spirit of giving thanks meets the art of couch domination.
Israeli forces injure 300 Palestinians in Tunis, calling it a security operation. When keeping the peace requires hospital beds and bandages, it's hard to tell if the goal is safety or just the status quo of suffering.
Only 12% of cartoons from 2015 still resonate, and nostalgia calls it timeless humor. When the punchlines are as dated as dial-up, it's a wonder we keep recycling old jokes in a world that's already a parody.
UAE dodges blame for Sudan war crimes, then calls lobbying constructive diplomacy. When you're rich enough to buy your own narrative, atrocities become just another line item in the expense report of influence.
Hoover Institution touts democracy arsenal rebuild, then forgets about healthcare and education. Because nothing says freedom like stockpiling weapons while citizens beg for basic necessities and the right to exist beyond the battlefield.
Kiev gamifies war strategy, then sells it as innovation. Turning warfare into a game might make it feel like a win, but the real-world high score is measured in human lives and shattered futures.
When your future hinges on a handshake with the man who trademarks his own name, the real security threat might just be your expectations.
Shatterpad malware exploits WCS, calls it a feature. When your system security is as stable as a house of cards in a hurricane, maybe it's time to rethink your architectural choices.
House Democrats face primary challenges, then call it democracy. When your political career is a vintage vinyl, spun by the fresh hands of socialist DJs, it's time to dance or get scratched.
Only 20% of Americans report financial comfort, and Congress calls it stability. When the price of breathing requires a loan application, it's clear the American dream is on backorder indefinitely.
U.S. halts visas for Afghan passport holders, then claims it's a strategic pause. Because nothing says land of the free like slamming the door shut on those who need freedom the most.
Kremlin rejects peace plans, then insists it's open to dialogue. Diplomacy with Russia is like trying to tango with a bear. One wrong step and you're just another rug on the floor.
When activists invest, it's like giving a caffeine boost to capitalism. Expect a jittery market and a few broken cups along the way.
Framework halts standalone RAM sales, warns of price hikes as AI crunch looms. In the tech world, the scalper is king and the rest of us are just pawns, scrambling for scraps while AI demands a bigger slice of the silicon pie.
The Great Pacific Garbage Patch expands to house dozens of species, a real estate boom for trash dwellers. When your oceanic dump becomes a thriving habitat, it's time to question if we're recycling the wrong things, like our excuses for environmental neglect.
Leonardo announces, building a high-tech dome while whispering sweet peace talk is like buying a smoke alarm for a bonfire festival. Just a tad late, don't you think?
Congo fails to resume cobalt exports 6 weeks after ban ends, proving bureaucracy is the most renewable resource on Earth. Keeping the world waiting for cobalt is like dangling a carrot over an electric car. They can see the future, but they can't drive it.
When reality starts to become case studies, it's clear we're living in a world where science and
Cell phone providers promise best coverage at lowest prices, then bury you in fine print and roaming charges. Choosing a provider feels like dating in a reality TV show. Everyone's got catchphrases, but commitment comes with hidden costs and drama.
Cosmonauts now stuck on Earth, contemplating the existential crisis of having their space dreams grounded by geopolitics and a lack of rocket fuel.
Israel enforces lockdown on Palestinians during West Bank assault, claims it's for security while schools become ghost towns. In a twisted game of hide-and-seek, children dodge more than homework as family livelihoods crumble and military shadow looms over their future.
Ticketmaster refunds fans after Olivia Dean slams ticket touts for charging 14 times face value, calls the practice exploitative. When a soulful siren has to play Robin Hood, you know the system's rigged to make music the last thing fans can afford to hear.
Donald Trump targets 470 opponents, turning vendetta into a governance strategy. When leadership is just a grudge match in a gold-plated arena, democracy gets traded for a reality show script.
Ventura County Court convicts Simi Valley man, then reveals he reburied his ex-wife twice. When your alibi hinges on a DIY resurrection, maybe it's time to reconsider your career in crime.
Only 10% of workers feel secure, and Wall Street calls it progress. Gobble down the gravy while you can,
because next year you might be stuffing resumes instead of turkeys.
As the jungle gets thinner, so does the dinner plate. But hey, at least the paperwork's looking robust.
Trump accuses Democratic veterans of sedition, then threatens them with death. In a plot twist worthy of a bad spy novel, the commander-in-chief is rewriting the rules of engagement. Loyalty over legality, or else.
Missouri AG investigates immigration, then targets referendum, threatening GOP gerrymandering. When democracy becomes a game of musical chairs, the GOP's strategy is to make sure the music never stops.
Nature corrects photocatalysis article, then blames readers for spotting errors. When research needs a reader's audit to be reliable, it's like relying on a toddler to proofread your manifesto.
You'll find even after 3 million years, these ancient ancestors are still playing the evolutionary version of whose shoe is it anyway?
In the digital age of music, it seems the only thing more inflated than an ego is an artist's follower count.
Endangered turtle swims free post-surgery, and somewhere a surgeon hi-fis nature. In a world where turtles get better health care than most citizens, maybe we should all start growing shells and flippers.
Russia bans Human Rights Watch, then claims it's all about peace and harmony. When human rights become contraband, you know the regime's running scared. Maybe next they'll outlaw empathy and hugs just to be safe.
Georgia prosecutor drops election interference case against Trump, claims justice is served. Dropping charges becomes the new Southern hospitality. Maybe next time they'll serve sweet tea with a side of legal immunity.
Gold rises as dollar dips, promises endless cycles. Like a boomerang of optimism, gold's glitter reflects our eternal dance with economic deja vu, where every rate cut whispers sweet nothings of prosperity.
Israeli government simulates Aliyah for 45,000, calls it preparation. As if life were a game of risk, the Aliyah ministry practices for a mass exodus like it's just another Tuesday while the world teeters on the edge of its seat.
Signia CEO promises jobs, delivers speeches, while youth unemployment remains sky high. With all the innovation talk, you'd think Africa's youth were a tech startup pitch, not real people needing real jobs.
Palantir stock plummets 16%, while CEO Alex Karp schedules media blitz to soothe investor anxiety. Karp's media charm offensive is like putting lipstick on a sinking ship, glossy but still headed for the bottom.
Red Bull announces world's biggest bike loop, claims it's just an energy drink for your wheels. Because nothing says safety first like hurtling upside down in a metal circle the size of a two-story building.
Italy's parliament delays defining sex without consent as rape, calls it a legislative pause. Because why rush into protecting bodily autonomy when you can take a leisurely stroll through bureaucratic purgatory instead?
When your team's best skill is slapstick diplomacy, you might want to rethink your hiring strategy, or just embrace the circus.
George Mason University fires lecturer for drinking wine in class, claiming it was a teaching aid.
Nancy Tangler claims AI trade differs from 90s, compares it to a toddler with a credit card. When your investment strategy includes crayons and nap time, maybe it's time to rethink your portfolio or join a daycare.
Federal Reserve rate cut hopes boost US stocks, a pre-Thanksgiving feast for Wall Street. Nothing says holiday cheer like the smell of speculative gains roasting over an open flame of economic uncertainty.
Two National Guard members critically wounded as Washington, D.C. grapples with gun violence yet again. America, where the land of the free has become a shooting range and the home of the brave is always on high alert.
Ian Gillan denies retirement rumors after sight loss, insists Deep Purple's 2026 plans are solid as ever. Rock legends don't retire. They just turn the amps up louder even if they can't see the volume knob. Keep on rockin', Ian.
China vows to crush foreign interference in Taiwan, proving once again that diplomacy is best served with a side of saber rattling. Because nothing says peaceful neighbor like a promise to flatten anyone who disagrees with your definition of sovereignty.
Temasek plans stake in Quest Global at $4.6 billion valuation. Because what's a billion here or there between friends?
South Korea forms task force for next-gen fighter jet engine, hoping to outfly their own bureaucracy. In a world where jet engines are the new status symbols, South Korea aims to swap imported horsepower for homegrown pride.
Orban.
leader's idea of foreign policy is a playdate with autocrats. It's less about alliances and more about ego stroking.
When your political strategy involves a map and a pair of scissors, you're not drawing districts, you're cutting out voters.
Amazon faces global protests as workers in over 30 countries demand fair pay on Black Friday, the day of consumerism worship. When your workers unite across borders, it's a sign your prime service isn't delivering justice.
Italy legally recognizes femicide as a crime, punishing it with life imprisonment decades after the first demands for justice. When justice takes a lifetime to arrive, it serves as a grim reminder of how long women have been silenced.
In the theatre of war, ceasefires are just intermissions where the audience becomes the collateral damage.
Fire services report 13 dead in Hong Kong high-rise blaze as safety regulations remain a smokescreen. In the skyscraper shuffle, safety is just a mirage towering over the ashes of accountability.
Jeff Bezos' AI venture buys agentic computing startup as whispers of a tech takeover fill the air. When billionaires play chess with AI, the pawns are always us, stuck dining on crumbs from their algorithmic feast.
Spotify runs ICE ads while backing White House agenda, and the No Kings Alliance says cancel culture is just the start. When a music platform dances to an authoritarian tune, it's time to change the station and reclaim the rhythm of resistance.
Senator Slotkin demands Trump airstrike data declassification, claiming transparency is more lethal to secrecy than any bomb. When politicians start treating classified info like a piñata, you know they're hoping to spill some truths instead of just candy.
Turns out, waving goodbye to the EU costs more than a teary airport farewell. It's a long, expensive goodbye with a stiff upper lip.
French authorities charge 3 for Russian espionage links, and they call it international relations. When your friends start acting like double agents, it's less a diplomatic cocktail party and more a geopolitical game of Clue with vodka shots.
Only 40% of pro-Trump X accounts are US-based, and Trump calls it grassroots support. When your digital cheerleaders need a map and a VPN to find their way home, it's less about patriotism and more about profit margins and time zones.
Trump closes Venezuelan airspace, claims it's for American security. When your foreign policy is a game of Monopoly, every airspace is just another hotel to block with your impulsive whims and ego-driven dice rolls.
Swalwell jumps into California governor race adds to chaos. When you toss another hat into the ring, it's more like a carnival of political ambitions where everyone's juggling promises and hoping voters won't notice the dropped balls.
Trump hits negative approval rating with every pollster, a first in history. It's like a bad Yelp review marathon where the only stars are the ones he's seeing after getting hit with the reality of public opinion.
Trump announces death of National Guard member in targeted shooting, then pivots to unrelated topics. In a classic display of empathy, he managed to make a tragedy about himself faster than you can say thoughts and prayers.
These must-have devices are the culinary equivalent of a gym membership, full of potential, mostly collecting dust.
Istanbul hosts thousands for historic mass, while Turkish government claims it's just a casual gathering of friends. When religion meets politics, expect the kind of divine intervention that turns a wink into a diplomatic handshake.
Inium releases Shivering, featuring Spirit Box, promises the metal community it's not just another EDM crossbreed. When metal meets EDM, it's like throwing a chainsaw into a rave. Everyone's either headbanging or ducking for cover.
Coast Guard rescues family stranded at sea, while a coyote contemplates Florida hotel parking garage escape. From high seas heroics to furry hotel hijinks, it seems humanity and wildlife alike are caught in the traps of modern life, whether oceanic or concrete.
France to intercept small boats in the Channel, pressured by the UK to play maritime bouncer. When your neighbor's solution to migration is turning the sea into a geopolitical dodgeball court, its clear borders aren't the only things being crossed.
Olivia Dean forces Ticketmaster to refund fans, while megastars like Taylor Swift and Beyoncé remain silent on ticket gouging. It's a sad day when it takes an indie artist to remind us that the real art of loving is caring about your fans' wallets.
Hong Kong begins 3 days of mourning after deadly fire, yet officials still dodge questions on fire safety regulations. In Hong Kong, silence might honor the dead, but it won't extinguish the flames of bureaucratic negligence.
Army of Yen faces 80 allegations of secret recordings, yet military brass still touts its commitment to servicewomen's safety. In the Army's latest reality show, Behind Enemy Lines, the Guinea edition, privacy is the first casualty.
Israeli authorities released Palestinian U.S. teen after 9 months in detention, claiming it was all just a cultural exchange program. In the land where vacations turn into unwanted extended stays, this teen's holiday souvenir was a crash course in international diplomacy.
EU claims climate change depletes water reserves, suggests drinking less as a solution. In a plot twist worthy of a dystopian novel, the EU's grand plan to quench our thirst is to stop being thirsty. Cheers to dry wit and drier taps.
Only 15% of history students pass this experiment, and the professor calls it innovative. It's the kind of creativity that turns learning into a game of roulette, where the house always wins and the students are left spinning.
Trump cancels Biden's odd-open orders, then claims it's a victory for authenticity. In a world where pens wield more power than people, the ink becomes the battlefield, and the autopen is the scapegoat of choice.
Time Mobile reps to view phone screens call it customer service, because nothing says trust like handing your personal life over to a stranger in a pink polo, armed with a clipboard and a corporate smile.
Only 10% of musicians gain followers, and social media calls it engagement. In the symphony of self-promotion, the algorithm plays first chair, and the rest of us are left tuning our instruments in the echo chamber of mutual desperation.
Only 20% of hip-hop tracks break through and streaming platforms call it discovery. In the digital jungle of beats and bars, artists are the prey, and the algorithm is the relentless predator, deciding who gets to roar and who remains a whisper in the wind.
Queen claims 4 top 10 baseline spots, and somehow the rest of the industry keeps a straight face. When one band's bassist can outplay entire decades of competition, it makes you wonder if the rest were just plucking strings for fun. Maybe it's time to rename the Rock Hall of Fame to Queen and Friends.
ICE arrests woman linked to White House press secretary, proving irony has a cruel sense of humor.
Saudi Arabia's public investment fund buys EA for $55 billion, then claims it's out of cash. With $1 trillion piggy bank, you'd think they have more than lint in their pockets. But hey, maybe digital touchdowns and virtual warfare drains the coffers faster than expected.
Only 50% of face transplant patients survive, and the medical world calls it progress. Hope's shiny mask slips to reveal the grim truth. A patchwork of buried failures and a system that leaves patients financially flayed and medically exposed.
In Denmark's Thy National Park, nature stands as a backdrop to neglect, where scenic beauty masks the fiscal starvation of our planet's lungs.
Putin demands Ukraine cede land for peace, then calls it diplomacy. When your idea of negotiation is a map and a carving knife, every deal starts to look like a butcher's block special.
KNDS produces 450 SAR MKI howitzers, calls it a milestone. Because nothing says progress like more machines designed to turn cities into abstract art installations.
Trump vows to terminate Biden executive orders, promising chaos as new normal. Like a kid with a magnifying glass, Trump's burning through Biden's legacy just to watch it squirm.
The Louvre raises ticket prices by 45% for non-EU tourists, calling it cultural exclusivity. Art should be a universal language, but the Louvre's speaking in the dialect of the elite, where only the wealthy can afford a ticket to history.
Argentina nominates IAEA Chief Grossi for UN Secretary General, promising a diplomat who can juggle nukes and paperwork. From handling atomic meltdowns
S&P 500 index funds declined 18.8%, and financial gurus call it a spicy opportunity. When stocks dip, Wall Street tells you to add a dash of risk like it's seasoning your ramen, not gambling your future. Remember, a little spice can burn your wallet.
Trying to break into the music industry is like trying to find a vegan option at a Texas barbecue. Nelly's new single might just be the plant-based miracle you didn't see coming.
Black Sabbath releases Junior's Eyes with Dave Walker, and the metal world braces for impact. Swapping Ozzy for Dave Walker is like trading a chainsaw for a fancy blender. Sure, it works, but the raw edge is a little too smooth for comfort.
Sri Lanka's government watches as flood and landslide death toll hits 123, yet calls it an act of nature. When your infrastructure is flimsier than a wet paper bag, it's amazing how fast unprecedented becomes the new normal.
Hong Kong authorities label fire that killed dozens as unforeseen, despite safety violations stacking up like kindling. When negligence meets bureaucracy, it's a wonder any of us make it out alive. Who needs arson when you've got apathy?
Justice delayed is justice denied, but hey, at least the chickens are thriving. Truth is the one thing they can't bury beneath the sea.
Trump demands federal troops for Chicago, hurling insults at Illinois Governor Pritzker as if diplomacy were a pie-eating contest. When your foreign policy toolkit is just a bag of playground insults, it's a miracle anything gets done, except, of course, making headlines.
Guinea-Bissau military arrests President Mbaucho, proving once again that coups are the original national pastime. When your political transition plan involves more gunfire than ballots, democracy's just a word you use to spice up the press release.
Reddit user unleashes Custodian EP claiming it's shredding the melting realms and your eardrums. In a world where music must now defeat climate change single-handedly, this EP is doing its best impression of a sonic superhero.
Russian streaming site ZDFU rare album, leaving global music hunters stranded without a subscription manual. When even your favorite tunes are exiled to obscure servers, it's like trying to rob a bank with a spoon.
London councils compromised in cyber attack, urging residents to be vigilant while their data dangles like a piñata at a hacker's fiesta. When your personal info becomes the main course at a digital potluck, it's time to question the security recipe.
Redditor posts broken feedback requests, leaves users clicking on phantom links like tech-savvy ghost hunters in search of spectral insight. When the digital age turns your post into a haunted house of hyperlinks, maybe it's time to call in the Ghostbusters, or just fix your HTML.
David Frum critiques Department of Government efficiency dissolution, another Trump-era efficiency drive ending in a bureaucratic car crash with no survivors. When your legacy is leaving government efficiency in the dust, maybe the real efficiency was the chaos you created along the way.
Westbourne Research predicts market growth in 2026, ignoring how global stimulus is just patching potholes with dollar bills in a minefield. When your investment strategy relies on geopolitical developments, it's like betting on a three-legged horse in a hurricane.
Bus travel jumped 17% for Thanksgiving, and experts act like it's a Cinderella story when it's just a pumpkin on wheels. When your travel options are grounded or derailed, a bus ride feels like a royal carriage until you hit the traffic jam palace.
Hong Kong declares highest alert as fire rages, while trapped residents become collateral in the Inferno's deadly dance. When survival depends on luck and ladders, it's a grim reminder that high-rise dreams can quickly become nightmares.
EU ambassador demands action on frozen assets, claiming it's time to fund Ukraine's defense with money stuck in bureaucratic limbo. When frozen assets stall, will Ukraine find support or just a dribble of promises melting away before their eyes?
Thai officials delay aid as floods claim 33 lives,
leaving stranded residents to wonder if help will arrive before the waters recede.
when aid trickles in on boats, will it rescue lives or just buoy up the illusion of government efficiency?
Analyst warns North Korea could have over 400 nukes by 2040, as if the world needed more existential dread. When the world stockpiles annihilation, it's not about defense. A global pissing contest with radioactive consequences.
The blaze devoured homes like a corporate merger, leaving residents with nothing but smoke-filled memories and a sky that weeps ash.
Trump deploys 500 more National Guard troops to D.C. after shooting because nothing says safety like militarizing the Capitol. It's like solving a broken heart with duct tape. Sure, it might hold for a while, but you're still left with a sticky mess and no real solution.
Financial institutions commit $1 trillion to energy transition, spin it as revolutionary while still funding fossil fuels. It's like trying to quit smoking by lighting up a cigar. Bold claims of change with the same old habits dragging us down.
Hunt 5 app drops new music video today. Their attempt at rebellion feels like a toddler's tantrum.
Chicago defies ICE with community-led resistance, proving solidarity is the fiercest weapon against oppression. When the city rallies around its most vulnerable, it shows that a united community can be a fortress against tyranny. Take notes, America.
Federal judge questions AI use by immigration agents, warning it's like handing a loaded weapon to a toddler. When algorithmic babysitters start deciding who stays and who goes, expect a lot more tantrums and fewer happy endings.
When the financial elite gets a taste of tax relief, it's like feeding seagulls at the beach. Expect noisy demands for more crumbs.
Thieves nabbed 90,000 euros of snails meant for Michelin restaurants. When escargot becomes the hot black market item, we know the culinary world's gone shell-shocked over a gastropod gold rush.
Putin calls US-backed peace plan okay in general, then prepares for another round of geopolitical chess with nuclear stakes. When you're okay is the diplomatic equivalent of a shrug, the world's left holding its breath for the next Russian roulette round.
Senators urge Rubio to probe Israeli actions in Gaza. Then remember he's busy perfecting his ostrich impression.
French inflation stays steady, Spain's barely budges, and economists call it a dynamic new economic stability. When unexpectedly unchanged becomes a victory cry, you know the bar for economic success is lying somewhere under a baguette.
Gyromorph Materials debut, claiming to block light everywhere, yet still manage to keep things in the dark. When science merges chaos and order, it's like a rave with a dress code. The lights might be off, but the hype is still blinding.
When the EU plays financial nanny, they wag a finger at budgets like it's a magic wand, hoping to conjure fiscal discipline from thin air.
Portugal claims the FA U17 World Cup after beating Austria 1-0, and Qatar celebrates by adding another stadium to its collection. In a tournament hosted by a nation with more stadiums than actual footballers, Portugal's victory is a reminder that sometimes less is genuinely more.
UN accuses Israel of de facto state policy of organized torture, but peace talks remain as elusive as a unicorn in a desert. When your diplomatic strategy involves more knots than a sailor's handbook, it's no wonder peace keeps slipping through your fingers like sand.
Artist designs intricate suits of armor for mice, proving even tiny warriors deserve a touch of medieval flair. When your biggest battle is against the kitchen cat, a custom-fitted breastplate might just be the edge you need.
Social Security report debunks Elon Musk's fraud claims, released when everyone's stuffing their faces with turkey. Ah, the perfect timing, delivering truth when the nation's in a tryptophan coma. Nothing says transparency like a holiday news dump.
BBC's Robbie Gibb, former Channel 4 news editor, now tangled in a scandal, denies any single misjudgment caused the crisis. When the spin doctor spins out of control, it's less about the story and more about the storyteller's tangled web.
Best Buy offers 20% off tech gadgets, claims it's a Black Friday miracle. More like a holiday shell game where they mark up prices just to mark them down again. Who knew shopping was the real magic trick?
CME resolves glitch. FTSE 100 gains, while the pound slips like a drunken juggler. It's a classic case of market whack-a-mole. Fix one glitch, watch 3 others pop up. Who knew financial stability was just a tech hiccup away?
UK's HMS Prince of Wales sails with Italy's Its Cavor, proving even more ships need a buddy system in the Mediterranean. When you need to show off naval power, nothing says we're besties like synchronized sailing. It's like a military version of a friendship bracelet, but with more firepower.
FAA reroutes Florida flights to avoid Mar-a-Lago, leaving wealthy residents under a jet stream of consequences. When Trump's security detail turns your mansion into an unscheduled flyover zone, it's like getting VIP access to the Noise Pollution Club. Enjoy the sound of freedom, folks.
Apple notifies EU that ads and maps meet Digital Markets Act thresholds, but calls it a feature, not a bug. When your monopoly status is a congratulations card from the EU, you know you've hit the jackpot of corporate ambition. Now, let's see if they can innovate their way out of this one.
Spotify streams Coolie P's Wit the Top Down hit 1 million, labels it the summer anthem despite the relentless rain. When your convertible dreams meet monsoon reality, but the beat's too good to care, you know it's a summer hit.
When the digital heart of global finance skips a beat. But hey, at least the stock price didn't panic. Maybe the market's just on Xanax.
Federal Reserve hints at rate cut. Stocks soar before Thanksgiving. Nothing like a little pre-holiday sugar high. for Wall Street, while the rest of us wonder if our turkey will be cheaper than our rent.
Court charges Afghan man with 3 sexual assaults, and Southampton holds its breath. In a world where justice is supposed to be blind, the courtrooms still manage to see through a lens of bias and sensationalism.
When rewriting the rules threatens the status quo.
Only 5% of consumers resist holiday marketing tricks, and advertisers call it failure. When act now translates to regret later, it's clear that the season of giving has been hijacked by the art of taking.
After serving U.S. interests, Afghan national allegedly shoots 2 National Guard members, then America feigns surprise. It's a classic tale of use, discard and watch the fallout, as if military alliances come with a warranty that includes human loyalty.
Only 30% of affiliate marketers make money, and gurus call it a success. It's like selling a map to buried treasure only to find out the X marks a spot in a desert of broken dreams and expired domain names.
Eurogroup candidates Pyrrhokakis and Van Peteghem pursue 11 votes, blame sanctions on Russian assets for Belgium's shaky bid. In the Eurogroup's game of votes, Belgium's candidacy is as stable as a house of cards in a wind tunnel, while Greece plays the comeback kid.
Jan unveils human washing machine, promises to scrub away your dignity like detergent on a stubborn stain. Forget bubble baths and showers, now you can spin through life squeaky clean, just like your socks. Who needs privacy when you can have rinse cycles?
UK bans Russian LNG transport on its vessels, yet Yama's Arctic fleet sails on like a ghost ship in a fog of sanctions. The EU's transshipment ban is about as effective as a paper umbrella in a downpour, while Finland eyes the skies, hoping for a space-based lifeline.
Zelensky confirms Yermak's resignation, while the political merry-go-round spins faster than a hamster wheel on caffeine.
Rachel Reeves targets UK's wealthiest with £26 billion tax plan, claims it will level the playing field. When you're trying to balance the scales of justice with a tax plan, remember, the rich have always been experts at finding loopholes.
Jan announces new cybersecurity strategy to tackle foreign threats, promises protection but offers no clear plan. In the digital age, a cybersecurity strategy without specifics is like a lock on a door with no walls, impressive in theory but utterly useless.
When your browser starts sending phishing notifications, it's like getting a Trojan horse delivered by a friendly mailman.
System of Revival drops Stay in Your Lane, an album that costs nothing but your sanity. When a band tells you to stay in your lane, it's like a musical GPS directing you straight to existential crises with a killer soundtrack.
US Transportation Secretary demands civility in air travel while airlines still charge for breathing room. In a world where legroom costs extra and peanuts are premium, demanding civility feels like asking passengers to smile while being squeezed into a sardine can.
Canon promo codes offer 30% off in November 2025, but the price of creativity is still full. When your art depends on a discount, you know capitalism's lens is cracked. Even a 30% off won't capture the true cost of inspiration.
English beat releases In the Bathroom, a reggae track about private moments, and the irony is palpable. Where your personal time becomes a public anthem, privacy is just another rhythm for the masses to dance to. Even your solitude's got a beat.
Researchers boost one protein, brain still left to battle Alzheimer's alone. When the brain is a battlefield and Alzheimer's the enemy, a single protein's like bringing a pea shooter to a tank fight. Science's silver bullets aren't quite shining yet.
The New Yorker attempts moving covers, but it's still just pixels on paper. As the magazine tries to animate its cover, it seems they forgot that a moving image without substance is just a screensaver for the literary elite.
In a world where the Statue of Liberty weeps, Trump's latest xenophobic fantasy is dressed up as charity, proving irony's still alive and kicking.
When your vibe is so potent it's practically Wi-Fi, you know you're living in a world where reality bends to charisma, not logic.
Amazon slashes monitor prices by 29%, calls it a tech revolution, because nothing screams revolution like a slightly cheaper way to stare at spreadsheets, while the real revolution is happening in your wallet's slow demise.
Only 15% of flies change their diets, and scientists call it groundbreaking evolution. In the wild world of fruit flies, swapping your favorite snack is like discovering a new continent. Meanwhile, humans are still grappling with the complexities of kale versus quinoa.
World Health Organization warns of rising measles cases, then predicts a parade of preventable plagues. Turns out, when you ignore science and shun vaccines, diseases make a comeback tour. Who knew that living like it's 1895 would come with its own set of problems?
National Guard shooting suspect faces murder charge despite claiming self-defense in a heavily armed scenario. When your defense strategy is, I felt threatened by the people holding the guns, you might want to reassess your life choices and maybe your legal counsel.
Florida professor claims to solve Peru's Band of Hoes mystery, calls it a prehistoric marketplace and accounting system. When your ancient mystery is just an ancient spreadsheet, it's a reminder that even millennia ago, humans were finding creative ways to stress about inventory management.
Amazon workers warn AI development could cause staggering damage in a letter signed by over 1,000 employees when your staff starts quoting.
Only 12% of America's workforce could be replaced by AI, and MIT researchers call it progress. When a robot can do your job but can't feel the existential dread about it, Welcome to the future where even anxiety is outsourced.
Cannabis products calm 47,000 dogs, and researchers hail it as a breakthrough in canine diplomacy. Finally, man's best friend can chill out without the need for belly rubs or fetch marathons. Next up, CBD treats for stressed out dog owners.
Because nothing says mature judgment like a teenager's digital footprint.
Black Friday shoppers fight for deals amidst inflation, yet the discounts barely cover the gas to get there. In a world where your wallet's on a diet, every Black Friday sale is like hunting for a unicorn in a sea of credit card debt.
Trump's transportation department loosens public safety rules, claiming it's all about efficiency. When efficiency means cutting corners with safety scissors, you know the road ahead is paved with potholes of negligence and hubris.
Retailers list 155 Black Friday deals, claim they're unbeatable despite hiking prices last month. When unbeatable deals mean you're boxing with shadows, it's time to realize you're the sucker in this retail rodeo.
When a budget's robust progress is a snail on a treadmill, perhaps it's time to redefine what counts as moving forward.
Only 8% of US recyclables avoid landfills, and the waste industry calls it a sustainable success. When your recyclables are more likely to end up buried than reborn, it's clear the recycling fairy tale needs a serious rewrite.
When avoiding recession means funneling cash into the war machine, maybe it's time to redefine what growth really means.
Israeli forces kill 2 unarmed Palestinians. Label it security.
Flamengo defeats Palmeiras with a header, calls it redemption. When football is a soap opera, avenging past losses is just another episode in the never-ending telenovela of Brazilian club rivalry.
Trump and Johnson hold tele-rally for GOP, call it grassroots. When 2 political powerhouses opt for a virtual rally, it's less about grassroots and more about Wi-Fi signal strength and reality distortion fields.
Only 40% of classic rock fans know Rory Gallagher, yet AI-generated pop stars top the charts. In an age where algorithms decide taste, true rock legends become the ghosts haunting Spotify playlists, waiting for a resurrection.
Denise Welch releases Sleigh Bells, but it sounds like Christmas in a blender. When actors turn pop stars, we get a new genre, holiday anthems that jingle all the way to the bargain bin.
Sri Lankan government prioritizes cyclone damage control.
Trump plans to pardon ex-Honduras leader convicted of drug trafficking, proving once again that crime does pay if you know the right people.
Trump team offers deal on occupied Ukrainian territory to Putin, hoping to trade ethics for empty promises of peace. When diplomacy takes a back seat to real estate deals, The cost is sovereignty sold at a bargain, and justice left out in the cold.
Trump calls female reporter stupid for correcting him, proving once again that facts are his least favorite accessory. In the world of alternative facts and fragile egos, truth is the real casualty, and the press is the perpetual scapegoat.
Only 66 years for Pam Hogg, and the fashion world loses its most rebellious stitch.
Maduro plans Turkish escape routes, leaving Venezuela to sink under its own weight. Dictatorship's newest travel bug. When your country crumbles, just book a one-way ticket to a geopolitical ally's guest house.
Assassin's Creed sells 1 billion virtual stabbings, calls it historical education. Because nothing says learning history quite like parkour and pixelated bloodshed, education's new frontier, teaching kids they can rewrite the past with a joystick and a hood.
Trump pardons ex-Honduras president convicted of drug trafficking, then calls it justice. Because nothing screams law and order like pardoning a man with a rap sheet that reads like a narco novella.
Georgia prosecutor drops 2020 election interference case against Trump and allies, calls it closure. In the land of peaches and legal peaches, justice seems to have slipped on a banana peel. Closure must have meant close your eyes and pretend it didn't happen.
When a soprano can turn a scream into a symphony, you know she's transcended mere vocal cords to become the ultimate opera insurgent. Peterson's voice could probably shatter glass ceilings too if it weren't for all that pesky structural sexism.
Iran boycotts FIFA World Cup draw, citing Trump's visa spat as the final straw. When international diplomacy becomes a playground brawl, you know the world's referees are off duty. Iran refusing to play ball over a visa tantrum highlights how sports and politics are entangled like earbuds in a pocket.
FBI's Patel confirms National Guardsmen in critical condition after downtown shooting, while DC leadership scrambles for answers. When soldiers on home soil become targets, it's clear the war isn't just overseas. Maybe our leaders should focus less on press conferences and more on preventing these hometown nightmares.
Islamists flee Sweden accused of swindling millions in welfare benefits, leaving behind a welfare system in existential crisis. When a safety net becomes a trampoline for fraud, maybe it's time to reweave that net. Sweden's progressive model just got schooled by those who know how to play the system better than the designers themselves.
LexMem releases Be a Bay Du Amor in 2025, redefining Sertanego with a digital twist. When country twang meets algorithmic charm, even the heartstrings get an upgrade. Brazil's musical landscape is now a digital rodeo, where the cowboys are coded and the love songs come with a side of Wi-Fi.
Killswitch Engage and 3 others join Milwaukee Metal Fest 2026 as organizers scramble to fit a headliner. When metal bands need a new date, it's like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic, but with more tattoos and less buoyancy. The headbangers will descend on Milwaukee, ready to shake the walls and maybe even the calendar.
Africa sweeps India 2-0, handing hosts record defeat by runs. It seems India just learned the hard way that cricket isn't all about the bat and ball. Sometimes it's about knowing when to duck. South Africa's victory was so definitive, it might as well have come with a bow and a flourish.
Dassault Aviation and Thales joined forces on AI for combat aviation, promising smarter warfare. Because nothing says peace on Earth quite like two aerospace giants getting cozy with artificial intelligence to make combat aviation more efficient, it's like giving a fighter jet a PhD in mayhem.
Pratik Gupta claims ignorance of Trafigura's missing $600 million nickel fortune, a classic act of financial amnesia. It's the old, I misplaced a fortune routine, where millions vanish faster than a magician's rabbit, and accountability evaporates like smoke in a courtroom.
Ukraine deploys underwater drones to strike Russian Shadow Fleet tankers in Black Sea, turning covert ops into a maritime spectacle. When your tankers play hide and seek in geopolitics, don't be shocked when Ukraine's drones tag you it with a splashy surprise party.
Chicago Fed President Austan Goolsbee spills FOMC secrets, making economics sound thrilling, like a fiscal roller coaster ride with no seatbelts. When the Federal Reserve is your backstage pass, every interest rate hike feels like headbanging at an econ nerd's dream concert.
UK fails to join EU Defence Fund, proving once again it's easier to Brexit than to re-enter any European club. Looks like the UK's post-Brexit strategy is to stand outside the EU's defence party, hoping for an invite that never arrives. Cheers, old chap.
Ticketmaster refunds fans after Olivia Dean's critique, but keeps its resale prices high enough to make your wallet weep. Ticketmaster's refund move is like giving a band-aid to a fan stabbed by their resale prices. It's the least they could do, but the bleeding continues.
Sadiq Khan slams Faraj's racism denial, calls it desperate, then watches him dodge apologies like they're accountability landmines. Farage's refusal to apologize is like a toddler denying cookie crumbs on their face, obvious, messy, and fooling no one but themselves.
Bob Dylan names animals in reggae gospel, then somehow forgets to name his own genre. It's like Dylan's got a musical identity crisis, and we're all invited to the genre soup.
India examines Bangladesh's extradition request for ex-PM Hasina while she enjoys chai in New Delhi. It's like playing hide and seek at 78, but with international borders and a side of political drama. Who knew retirement could be this thrilling?
In the latest edition of Who Needs Elections Anyway? The military shows that nothing says stability quite like a coup with a side of chaos.
Poland plans foreign currency bond sales for 2026, expecting investors to fund its shopping spree. Apparently, the finance ministry thinks the best way to kick off the new year is with a nice hefty tab on someone else's dime.
Only 30% of boys have male mentors, and society calls this progress.
CME halts trading due to glitch, then blames gremlins in the data center. Turns out, even the gods of finance need a tech support hotline, because when the money machine stops, Wall Street's heart skips a beat.
France's nuclear reactors fuel highest power exports in 2 decades, yet the carbon footprint remains a shadow. While France beams about its nuclear prowess, the irony glows brighter, exporting energy while importing climate guilt.
Hospital sends woman in labor home, sparking lawmakers' push for change. When hospitals treat childbirth like a drive-through, maybe it's time to rethink how we value human life over efficiency.
Study finds psychosocial factors reduce brain age by 2 years, but knee osteoarthritis still feels ancient. When your brain is younger, but your knees are screaming for early retirement, it's clear the mind-body connection needs a better contract.
Trump's bank deregulation risks catastrophic financial fallout, yet Wall Street's still humming a happy tune.
Slate's mini crossword demands JavaScript, yet your brain's the real plugin. In a world of apps, remember, no tech can ever outplay the crossword's analog charm.
NSW shark kills woman, leaves man hospitalized, then officials call it a rare occurrence. In the ocean's ruthless lottery, the sharks are winning more than the lotto itself, and yet we're told it's just bad luck.
Vail increases dividends, then claims it's for investor happiness. When the earth is gutted for profit, shareholders get richer and the planet gets poorer. But hey, it's all about the happy returns, right?
Israel continues strikes and Gaza's death toll surpasses 70,000. When peace talks are smoke signals in a burning house, the only ceasefire is in the imagination of those who never hear the bombs fall.
By heart recalls infant formula after botulism scare, claims rigorous safety standards. When your formula comes with a side of bacteria, safety standards sounds like a bedtime story written by the brothers Grimace.
Amazon slashes prices on 169 Black Friday. Deals celebrates consumerism's grand orgy. Discounts so dizzying you'll forget what you wanted, needed, or even who you are, just how capitalism likes it.
Zelensky's chief of staff resigns after property raid, swaps power suit for panic room. When the anti-corruption squad shows up, it's less a housewarming than a career cooling. Welcome to Ukraine's new office makeover, now with less graft and more grafting.
Trump withdraws endorsement of Green, sparks Republican civil war over Israel.
National Guard suspect linked to Afghan Zero units, elite squads with a shadowy past. When covert operations meet the courtroom, it's like mixing nitroglycerin with a lit match, explosive revelations guaranteed, but justice? That's always the real unknown.
YouTube sets Firestarter on repeat, hoping for nostalgia.
but serving up capitalism.
Thanksgiving myths serve whitewashed history, and America calls it tradition. While we feast on tales of harmony and turkey, the real history's left starving in the shadows.
Silver bells, Christmas jingles, nostalgia, muffling capitalism's sleigh ride. As the tinsel glitters and the cash registers chime, let's not forget Santa's workshop was outsourced to a sweatshop. Merry consumerism, everyone.
Japan cabinet approves 18 trillion yen extra budget, calls it a fiscal push. When your budget's got more zeros than a math textbook, it's not a push, it's a shove off the fiscal cliff. Let's hope it comes with a parachute.
Experts claim bull shark that killed tourist won't attack again despite beach closure. Ah yes, because sharks are well known for signing peace treaties. Maybe next they'll offer swimming lessons in exchange for tourism dollars.
Rocco fridge launches at $3,000 solves no storage issues. Who needs intelligence when you have a fridge that's prettier than your last Tinder date? Just don't ask it to chill your Pinot Noir correctly.
North Carolina judges approve Republican-drawn map, despite cries of gerrymandering. It's like letting a fox design the henhouse security system, ensuring only the right hens get in. Democracy now with extra loopholes.
Trump backs Honduran candidate Asfura, proving meddling knows no borders. It's like a reality show crossover episode where the villain jumps networks, and democracy's the unwitting contestant. Who's voting for this plot twist?
When the helium's worth more than the headliners, you know inflation's the real parade marshal. What's next? A balloon animal tax?
Pope Leo XIV wrestles with plaque cover and the cloth wins. When even divine intervention can't reveal a plaque, maybe the universe is saying, Pope, it's a sign. Next, he'll need a miracle to open a pickle jar.
Putin demands Ukraine hand over territory, calls it a deal. In the twisted world of geopolitics, surrender is now rebranded as compromise. Next, he'll insist the annexation comes with a free set of steak knives.
Maya civilization crumbled under drought, triggering city wars. When nature throws a curveball, even royal dynasties can't dodge. It's a classic tale. Thirsty kings, angry neighbors, and the ultimate game of musical thrones.
When wheels fly and common sense stalls, sometimes it takes a crash to wake up sleepy lawmakers.
Ashanti's baby hits 22 years old, yet somehow still sounds fresher than most of today's chart toppers. When a song outlasts all your relationships, you know it's a classic. Move over TikTok hits. Some tunes are just for 15 seconds of fame.
Sweden unearths complete Plano convex ingot defying Iron Age history. Turns out, history's just a giant game of telephone where the message is, oops, we missed a chapter. We're discovering ancient bling because textbooks are so last millennium.
Genocide Watch warns India at stage 6, polarization deepens divisions. When divisive politics become the national sport, you know the referee's been bribed. Amplifying hate is the playbook, and unity's on the injured list.
U.S. halts asylum claims after National Guard shooting, then wonders why desperation escalates. Blocking refuge seekers while ignoring the gunfire echoes is like trying to plug a dam with tissue paper. Safety shattered and hopes a hostage.
Jeremy Corbyn announces party name as Your Party, then vows to dismantle oligarchy. Naming a political movement your party is like handing you the remote while the TV's unplugged. The power's still elsewhere, and it's not in your hands.
China's industrial profits fall again after brief respite. When profits dip in the world's second largest economy, it's like a dragon sneezing. Everyone feels the ripple, but Beijing insists it's just a breeze.
Senator Rubio skips NATO meeting, prioritizes personal agenda over global unity. When a senator chooses to ghost NATO, it's like skipping class during a pop quiz. The stakes are high and the excuses are flimsier than a paper shield.
Only 7% of Americans understand how terror works, and Hollywood calls it entertainment. When the silver screen turns terror into a blockbuster, it's like turning a house fire into a marshmallow roast. The reality is scorching, but the popcorn's buttered.
Venezuela bans 7 airlines for halting flights, then blames them for reading the room. Grounding planes for playing it safe, Venezuela's move is like punishing a lifeguard for spotting sharks. The danger's real, but the blame's misplaced.
Google launches Black Friday Pixel deals, solving your existential dread with a discount. Who needs therapy when you can buy fleeting happiness at 20% off? Google's sale is here to remind you that retail therapy is still cheaper than the real thing.
Australia prioritizes science in Brumby law change, then arrests follow daylight shooting. In a land where kangaroos and koalas reign, even feral horses can't escape the political rodeo. Science wins the race, but Sydney's streets remind us that humans are still the wildest species.
Indonesia reports over 400 flood deaths, calls it unprecedented. When nature decides to throw a tantrum, it seems the only thing rising faster than the water levels is the death toll. Mother Earth sure knows how to make a splash, but the real disaster is our chronic unpreparedness.
Only 10% of Reddit users know Bukovina's history, and nostalgia calls it enlightenment. The good old days when borders were as fluid as a frat boy's weekend plans. Bukovina's union is a reminder that history is a game of musical chairs, and someone always ends up standing awkwardly in the corner.
Ticketmaster slashes Olivia Dean resale prices, then claims it's a kindness. Ah yes, the classic corporate "we're doing this for you" routine. Ticketmaster's version of benevolence is like a wolf offering to babysit your sheep. Keep an eye on your flock, folks, because this act of generosity might just have fangs.
Trump administration orders sweeping immigration review, then blames National Guard shooting. In a classic move of distraction and deflection, they're pointing fingers faster than a toddler caught with candy. Expect the review to be as fair and balanced as a seesaw with an elephant on one end.
Haley Williams bans bigots from concerts and sells out every show. If you're a fan of exclusionarianism, you can take your hate and mosh elsewhere. Meanwhile, her audience is a love-fueled mosh pit of inclusivity, proving that decency is the best ticket in town.
Trump orders re-examination of green card holders from 19 countries, then claims it's about security. When your idea of security is rolling back the welcome mat for those already inside, maybe it's time to redefine what great means in Make America Great Again.
TKMS delivers second Rise-class submarine to Turkish Navy, calls it a step toward peace. Because nothing says peaceful intentions like handing over a stealthy underwater war machine ready to play hide and seek in the deep blue sea.
The Swiss neutral in wars, but apparently not when it comes to playing hide and seek with taxes. The cheese may have holes, but the tax record shouldn't.
Dominican Republic lets US use territory to fight crime while local corruption takes a siesta. Because nothing says international cooperation like outsourcing your own backyard to a foreign power. Perhaps they plan to fight crime with a side of pina colada diplomacy.
Only 20% of blue-collar workers can afford a Primus concert, and ticket sellers call it accessibility. When the paycheck can barely cover the rent, the real tweak is pretending concert tickets are an attainable luxury. Rock on, but from the parking lot.
When your economy's running like a rusty Holden, a rate hike's just a speed bump on the road to nowhere.
Only 30% of sales see solve challenges, and consultants call it innovation. When the future's a security sieve, calling it innovation is like slapping a band-aid on a sinking ship.
Dow Jones posts worst 5-day start since 2008, but calls it a wild ride.
Alphabet gains 13.8% in November, while Nvidia drops 11%, yet investors still miss AI's broader implications. Focusing on stock tickers while ignoring AI's potential is like watching shadows and missing the puppet show.
Slate's parenting column suggests boxing is normal for teens, despite parents watching their sons and their boyfriends beat each other senseless. When parenting means endorsing a punch fest as bonding, you might need a new playbook that doesn't involve concussion protocol.
Maryland's governor proposes redistricting, calling it fair, but Democratic colleagues dub it a gerrymandered land grab. When a map looks like a Rorschach test, democracy might just be hallucinating.
Trump pardons billion-dollar fraudster, calling it justice, while irony files for bankruptcy protection. It's like hiring a fox to manage the henhouse and then wondering where all the chickens went.
Trump demands US diplomats pressure Europe on immigrant crimes, then ignores homegrown violence. The irony is thicker than a MAGA hat at a feminist rally. While he points fingers across the pond, his own backyard's a crime scene.
Poland detains 5 suspected spies, but forgets its own surveillance scandals. The pot calling the kettle black, or just another day in the espionage playground, Poland's got more eyes than a potato.
4 dead and 10 wounded in Stockton shooting, and gun reform remains an American mirage. In the land of the free, bullets fly freer than justice, and banquet halls become battlegrounds, while lawmakers dine on denial.
Spotify releases Warner Nash's Christmas album, ignoring July heatwave.
Sri Lanka creates fund for cyclone recovery, as if money alone can rebuild shattered lives. When the winds of change blow, it seems they also carry the same old promises of cash band-aids over gaping wounds.
Only 15% of fungi networks protected, and scientists call it a fungal fiasco. Turns out, the underground rebels of the forest floor need more than a cheerleader. They need a global rescue mission that's overdue by a couple of decades.
Trump promises manufacturing renaissance, loses 59,000 blue-collar jobs instead.
Russia bans Human Rights Watch, calls it undesirable. In Putin's playbook, human rights seem more offensive than a bear on a unicycle, proving once again that irony is Russia's national sport.
Putin defends Wickoff claims Western bias. When your defense team includes a world leader known for annexing land and silencing critics, you might want to rethink your PR strategy.
Trump administration's mass detention policy rejected by over 220 judges insists it's lawful. When your legal brain trust gets outvoted by a small army of judges, maybe it's time to redefine lawful.
Tokyo High Court declares Japan's same-sex marriage ban constitutional, celebrates equality by denying it. In the land of cherry blossoms and innovation, the judiciary clings to archaic notions like a stubborn bonsai refusing to grow.
Ministers dodge accountability on £6 billion. Sent funding gap. It's like trying to sell a parachute.
Only 30% of women admit foaming a vibrator, while the rest pretend their showers are just for hygiene. When your bedroom's most reliable partner runs on batteries, maybe it's time to question who's really afraid of a fire outage.
Only 10% of celebrities claim zero plastic surgery, while the rest have more secrets than a magician's hat. If Hollywood's so natural, why do they still look like they were assembled on a factory line for the eternally youthful?
Chinese warships set to return to Australia, but apparently they're downsizing like a tech company in a recession.
Godwin Friday becomes St. Vincent's fifth Prime Minister, and the island nation hopes for more than just a TGIF bribe. Let's see if he can turn political office into a long weekend of effective governance, instead of just another Monday morning meeting.
When even the directors ghost faster than the CGI, you know it's time for Hollywood to rethink its blockbuster addiction.
"61% of marketers claim AI software is crucial, yet only 11% understand what it actually does." In the race for digital dominance, AI tools are the shiny new toys marketers play with while hoping they don't break the bank or their campaigns.
Trump vows to absolutely denaturalize Americans, then claims it's about protecting freedom. Because nothing says liberty like stripping away citizenship, right? Just another day in the upside down where the land of the free takes a back seat to the whims of power.
Only 30% of Europeans enjoy high-speed internet, and tech giants call it innovation. Apparently buffering is the new black. While billionaires race to Mars, the rest of us get to watch the loading wheel spin into eternity.
Peace talks stumble as Zelensky's aide resigns amid corruption scandal, and Ukraine calls it a strategic pivot. Nothing screams peace and integrity quite like a resignation under the spotlight of a corruption probe. Negotiating peace while tiptoeing through a minefield of scandal. What could possibly go wrong?
Manchester police arrest man at airport for synagogue attack. Call it a victory in security. In the world of airport security, nothing says we're on top of things, like catching a suspect after they've already taken a swing at public safety. Who needs proactive measures when you've got hindsight arrests? Global stocks stabilize post 4-day rally fueled by Federal Reserve rate cut speculation. Nothing screams confidence in the economy like a market high on the hope that interest rates will drop faster than a hot potato at a juggling convention. Keep those fingers crossed, folks.
Senate vows vigorous oversight post-boat strike, promises accountability after the fact. The Senate's version of Oopes My Bad is promising to watch the barn door long after the horse has galloped into the sunset. Oversight or overlook, you decide.
Amazon slashes prices on 143 Black Friday deals, calling it a consumer's paradise. Because nothing says holiday spirit like elbowing someone for a discounted toaster. Retail therapy or retail nightmare, the sales might be hot, but your credit card will be on ice.
South Park mocks government's Thanksgiving antics, turning dysfunction into primetime satire. Gobble gobble goes the gravy of government gaffes as South Park serves up a platter of political absurdity.
World Aquatics bans Penny Oleskiak until 2027, citing missed paperwork as the crime of the century. In the dystopian aquatic world, failing to fill out your calendar is now as criminal as doping. Maybe next time, Penny, try a sticky note.
Polish enclave near Istanbul celebrates 1830 uprising, proving history is best served with a side of irony. Commemorating a rebellion against imperial domination, while nestled in a foreign land, is like a freedom party with a guest list of ghosts. Past the pierogi, let's toast to contradictions.
Airbus demands immediate A320 software upgrade, then insists everything is under control. The sweet serenade of corporate doublethink. Urgent updates needed. But don't worry, your safety was never compromised. Just a little turbulence in the truth department.
Mark Kelly declares U.S. boat strike clearly not lawful, yet the legal fog thickens. In the grand theater of politics, clearly not lawful is just the opening act. Watch as the plot twists and turns, leaving truth shipwrecked on the shores of ambiguity.
UK government cuts refugee intake by 26%, promising new legal routes soon. It's like saying you'll throw a lifeline to drowning souls while tightening the noose around the life raft. Humanitarianism by subtraction.
Turkey drafts new water law amid looming drought, claiming it will quench the crisis. It's like setting up a lemonade stand in the Sahara and calling it climate strategy. Just enough to wet your lips, but never enough to fill the well.
Swiss voters reject millionaire inheritance tax, fearing the rich might flee their alpine playground. Apparently, the Swiss are more afraid of empty chalets than empty coffers. The land of neutrality remains neutral in taxing the untouchable elites.
The administration's strategy: keep immigrants in a perpetual state of limbo.
Benedict Cumberbatch stars in holiday ads for World of Tanks and Amazon, proving no paycheck is too strange for a Sherlock. From solving crimes to selling tanks, Cumberbatch's career shift suggests that even the world's most famous detective can't resist corporate allure. Next up, Dr. Strange sells soap.
AI creator halts project over safety fears, claims chatbots endanger mental health. When the inventor pulls the plug, you know the plot's gone full sci-fi horror. Apparently, our digital therapists are less Freud, more Frankenstein. Who knew AI could ghost you for your own good?
Senators Wicker and Reid demand Hegseth disclose Caribbean strike orders, citing transparency concerns. When your war games need a public relations team, maybe it's time to rethink the whole peacekeeping narrative. Who knew the Caribbean was the new hotspot for diplomatic beach invasions?
When your kid's meal doubles as a cleaning solution, you know capitalism's got its priorities mixed up. Maybe the real toy surprise is finding out what's in the bottle.
White House scrambles to amend errors on anti-media website, then blames a rogue intern. When the government plays telephone with the truth, the game of misinformation becomes a full contact sport. Good thing they have an endless supply of scapegoats.
Chicago Mercantile Exchange glitch halts trading, but S&P 500 still claims a rally. Trading halted, but don't worry, the rich still get richer while the rest of us play Monopoly with missing pieces.
Billionaire Henry Cheng to sell Rosewood Hotels, racing against liquidity issues. When billionaires sell luxury, you know the yacht fuel prices must be hitting hard. Maybe they'll downgrade to first-class flights next.
MIT study claims AI can replace 11% of US jobs, calls it innovation. Looks like your future co-worker is a circuit board with a better attendance record. Maybe they'll unionize for more RAM and a decent firewall.
Saudi Arabia plans to open 2 alcohol stores, labels it modernization. In a land where wine once flowed like sand, the latest buzz might be a hangover with a side of cultural whiplash.
Only 5% of indie bands find success, and Queasy Peasy calls it a triumph. In the glittering lottery of fame, you might as well play the guitar with your toes for all the good it'll do.
Only 30% of family gatherings end without drama, and your sister calls it bonding. When the turkey's drier than the conversation and the politics are harder to swallow than the stuffing, skipping dinner is self-care, not sabotage.
Ryanair cancels members club after customers use discounts, then calls it a business strategy. When a budget airline discovers its customers actually want budget prices, it's a shock as grounding a plane that's out of fuel.
OPEC last halt supply increases despite surplus signs, then claims stability. Pausing production while the world drowns in crude is like throwing a life preserver to a sinking ship. Too little, too late, and absurdly ironic.
P. Diddy's convict gas gets Thanksgiving perks, but justice system serves cold leftovers. When a billionaire's table offers more leniency than the courts, you know we've got a justice system that's as fair as a three-legged race.
Scientists claim Dada birthed the moon, yet still can't explain Earth's cosmic hangover. 4.5 billion years ago, a planetary car crash gave us a satellite and a lifetime of unanswered questions. It's like the universe's longest-running soap opera, and we're still stuck on episode 1.
When your empire's gold-plated facade starts peeling like a cheap spray tan, it's time to reconsider the art of the deal.
Romanian officials unveil resistance monument, deny any occupation ever happened. When your historical narrative is as flexible as a gymnast on amphetamines, you can honor resistance while denying the need for it. The truth might be buried, but the irony's carved in stone.
Root declares Russia has no say on Ukraine's NATO bid, as if Moscow ever took no for an answer. It's like telling a toddler they can't have candy and expecting them to not throw a tantrum. Here's to hoping the grown-ups have a plan for the fallout.
It's the tech equivalent of a sports car that looks fast but barely outruns your grandma's station wagon. More bloat, less speed, same corporate spin.
Putin's demands Ukrainian withdrawal for peace, threatens military action if they refuse. In the world according to Vlad, peace means do what I say or I'll make you. It's diplomacy by ultimatum with a side of tanks.
Chinese DeepSeeker 1 AI produces vulnerable code when prompted with Tibet or Uyghurs, raising concerns about integrity.
Israel launches airstrikes on West Bank, calls it a security measure, but displacement numbers tell another story. When security measures make 32,000 people homeless, it sounds less like protection and more like a twisted eviction notice.